Well, a very good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DDMM YouTube channel for the first round of the new BUKC iRACING Trophy, a new series from the same group who brought to you the Club 100 iRACING Championship, but in a new car and on new circuits as well, compared to what we've raced on before. My name's Andrew Mather. Joining me in the DDMM virtual comms box, as ever, is Howard Mitchell. I know it's the 30th of January, mate, but I think it's still appropriate to say it because it is our first commentary of the year. Happy New 2024.
Much, mate. Same to yourself. And yes, that is the latest Happy New Year I think I've ever been wished, but I take it gladly because it is our first comms of the year, and it's lovely to be kicking it off with this new initiative, really, isn't it? This Club 100 iRACING operation, which began back in 2020. Can you believe we're entering our sort of the fifth year of this? That's crazy to me, and making me feel old. But so I'm going to move on from that and say this is a new initiative. It's great to see, and the name of the game here, mate, really is accessibility with this.
It is indeed. So we've started a few minutes early before we get into qualifying, so you're not missing anything competitive at the moment. We thought that would be a good idea because it's a brand new series. We've got a lot to cover. As Howard's mentioned, accessibility is a big part of this one. So this is a 5-round championship. Every single round will use the Ray FF 1600. That's the Formula Ford car. And we'll be on 5 circuits: Oulton Park, Laguna Seca, Okayama, Rudskogen, and Virginia International Raceway. And the key thing about that is all free content, mate, isn't it? If you've got an iRacing Active subscription, it just does cost a bit in some circumstances. You don't need to buy anything more on top. You don't need to do any more paid content. You can race in this series for Club 100 and BUKC drivers and BPEC drivers and those with a recognised affiliation to one of the above, or even if you've not done BUKC but you're with a university society that is affiliated with the BUKC indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. It may sound like a random collection of venues to the uninitiated, but to those familiar with the iRacing service, those are some classic, well, I say classic, some of them are actually relatively new additions in that regard, but they are all content that's included within the iRacing service once you've got the base subscription. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about accessibility. This is that opportunity for people who maybe haven't competed with us before to get into a car that's not, this car is lauded as a really good entry-level car. You're not going to have to have been doing iRacing for years in order to get behind the wheel of this thing. It's not going to, randomly throw you off. It's not a handful. It's just good fun. Provides us with good racing on some familiar tracks. Drivers who are working their way up through rookies, through the rookie license in iRacing, will be competing in these on these tracks, week in, week out, in the main iRacing championships and any other leagues they may be a part of. So it's a perfect thing in that regard. To the uninitiated as well, we should say, when we're talking about BUKC, of course, we're talking about the British Universities Karting Championship, mirroring the long-established championship that runs on Club 100 machinery. So it's all still part of the glorious Club 100 family of championships. But yeah, taking that BUKC brand and really using it to reflect what the BUKC does in reality, mate, and what it did for you and me, in many regards, which is give us a way to go racing, give us access into what for BUKC was karting, and from there so much has followed with regards to our competition in motorsport, and indeed our pleasure and privilege to talk about it. So that's really the spirit of this championship, and I think it's a great addition to make sure that, just as with the BUKC and Club 100, so sort of core Club 100 championships that we see, in real world racing with the karts, so too we're going to give that now as part of the Club 100 sim racing world, and I think that's such a positive move, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Indeed. So how will the championship work? So in each round there'll be 3 races, and they'll be of 25 minutes each. I wonder where we've got that idea from. As I say, each round will have 3 races on a night, so there will be 15 races in total. This one we've stolen from the SP60 Championship. The top 11 scores for an individual driver will count towards their final tally. So effectively, you can miss one whole race night and have a dud race at some point in the other 4, and you'll get a full complement championship score. There's also prizes to be won. The top driver in the standings at the end of the season will get a free entry into the 2024 Club 100 Main Championship. Why is that key? Well, the plan is that there will still be that link between the main championship and Club 100 racing in real life. So effectively, if you can win this one, you could get and then go on to win the main championship, basically getting your prizes for half price. That's what the top guys are racing for across the course of the next 5 nights. The same can also be said of the top newcomer. Now, this could be a driver in any category, and we'll get onto the categories in a minute, but if they've not done more than 2 events that we've run previously, they are eligible for the Newcomer Award. We could see that be someone from the top class, we could see that be from the bottom class. We don't know, but there will also be a spot for that individual in the main championship later in the year as well. Eagle-eyed amongst you will have seen on the cars, there's some details to take note of as well. Out go the classes C1, C2 and C3. We've actually done the flip reverse of Club 100 in real life. You will now be talking about premiers, clubmans, intermediates and rookies. Like in real life, they're all in the same machinery, they're all in the same fixed setup. The premiers are the ones we expect to see at the front. They've got red roll hoops. The clubmans are the next ones up. They've got blue. The intermediates have got green. That's mostly where we see our C2s from last year end up. And rookies, brand new drivers to this or still developing their iRatings, they have black roll hoops. Checkered flag is out for the end of practice. And Howard will get the
ending their practice abruptly there.
Yes, yes. I've just realised what I forgot to tell the drivers during the drivers' briefing. But yeah, we'll deal with that as such. I believe qualifying has now begun. This is something that we'll just go over for the new members on the stream. This is lone qualifying. This is very much an iRacing thing, but it's a good thing to have in my book. Especially for when we've got a mixed ability out there on the grid. Everybody's going to do 3 or up to 3 flying laps, but they're going to do it in almost their own little pocket universe of a lobby. So they'll all be doing their qualifyings at the same time, but they won't be sharing the track with each other. It means no drivers can complain about traffic or having their laps disrupted. It's purely the driver against the race circuit. Fastest time gets you pole position for race 1.
Absolutely, and we should say right as well that no reverse grids in the subsequent races as well. We're going to do the qualifying positions, and then it's going to be the positions carrying forward throughout the races. I quite like actually that for like Club 100 aficionados, you can just listen to the rules and guess which Club 100 championship we've taken them from. It's a little mini game within the series. If people, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just too into my rule books, aren't I? But
you
yeah.
are. Andrew Dawson on our screens at the moment. He's decked himself out in his favourite colours of the dark blue and orange Golf liveries. So I always akin to being on the later McLaren F1s. I'm
so glad you said that,
because that's of the mid-90s Le Mans and the GT1 World Championship. I'm a big favourite of it, and I particularly like it because it's got, to say, that new... It's quite fitting, really. He's not done this on purpose, folks. Ended up in a clubman class, but he's got a nice blue roll hoop as well. And the other thing to notify as well, well, there is one exception which we'll come on to in a minute. Any clubmans are 3-digit numbers starting with a 1. Inters are starting with a 2, rookies are starting with a 3, and if you're a Premier, you're either 1 through 10 based on last year's seeding for the main championship, or a 2-digit number of your choosing. Apart from Murray Adams, he's the only outlier on that one. He's a clubman, but because he finished 6th in the championship last year, he runs number 6, a bit like we see in British kart championships, of course. On board, Howard, with a returning driver. Great to see Matthew Graham back in Club 100 Sim Racing action. Haven't seen Matthew racing for a while. Fairly late entry, got in 8 minutes before the original deadline. There was a bit of an extension to take care of some extenuating circumstances, but Matt Graham back in Club 100 iRacing action, and being a Premier, he'd be expected to be right at the sharp end straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see him coming back, and to an extent, Andrew, I mean, part of what we're liking with this is, you know, the fact that we've made this championship very accessible, and that's brought in some new competitors who we've never seen before, and great to see them. Welcome if this is your first time competing. But it's also made it quite accessible to for some other people to come back to it, and that's really nice as well. So, yeah, great to see Matthew Graham back, and long may we continue to see plenty of people returning as we are getting our first times in of the session.
George Palozzi goes fastest, 1 minute 45.520 is another driver returning to Club 100 Sim Racing action after a while away. Ross Deal saw him win round 1 of last year's main iRacing championship. He goes to pole position now with a 145.2. Josh Ladd, another driver, as a late entry, but the former Club 100 iRacing champion goes second on a 1 minute 45.519. Olavo Castro has gone quickly as well. Debutant tonight goes up to 7th place, first of the rookies. Those are the ones with the the black position boards on the left-hand side of your screen. Another rookie out there on circuit, currently racing in the BUKC, Sandeep Burji in the 342. You also note quite a few drivers running the stock livery tonight as well, which I put together in a space of about 10 minutes. So we'll enjoy this livery for tonight, but I don't think many drivers are going to be holding on to it because let's be honest, it's a bit basic.
I don't know, mate. It's got some beautiful logos on the side. I don't know what we're talking about.
Deal still on pole position then. You're absolutely right to note the returning drivers. I haven't done the maths yet because, as I say, we had a flurry of entries just before the deadline yesterday. And if you are watching and wondering, oh no, have I missed out completely on the season, entries will reopen immediately after this round finishing for round 2 and beyond. But I reckon at least 2/3 of the drivers are either completely brand new to the series or haven't raced with us in over 12 months. So really good to see the number of drivers coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I highlight Sandeep Burji on that lap, Andrew, is because he actually went purple in the first sector of the lap. On that time around. So I'm interested to see what this time is for one of our rookie drivers. And it's not a valid time.
It's not a valid time.
I queued that up. I'm so sorry, Sandeep. I queued you up there. 0 to 0 stuff. I'm sure this lap will be better.
That's the first commentary curse of 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Ross Deal goes quicker, a 1 minute 44.84. Another returning driver tonight, Simon Kochis. This is one of my favourite liveries, I think, in great Hungarian-inspired colours with the black roll hoop, of course, denotes that he is a rookie driver. He's not a complete novice to these championships, raced a couple of years ago. The rookies, in some ways, it's terrible that I've called it rookies because about half of them aren't rookies. But I didn't want to use the word amateur. I thought that was a little bit disrespectful.
I have to say, before we went live, there were a few drivers I was checking, I sort of pre-stream checked. I was like, oh, they're in that class. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a few that I've had to...
Suggestions in the comments. Suggestions in the comments for a better name of the rookie class than rookies, so it's a bit more inclusive for drivers who haven't quite moved their iRatings up towards around 1700 yet. Anyway, Josh Ladd is on our screens. Has just been bumped out of P4 by Murray Adams. Sam Sanders has just improved to second on the grid as well. Let's have a look and see what the three-time Club 100 iRacing champion can do. We made a single appearance last year and show that he still had the pace there at Suzuka. Ladd comes across the line. Does he improve from 5th place? He does. Pole position for Josh Ladd on a 1:44.760. Takes it by just over half a tenth of a second.
Brilliant lap time there from Josh Ladd. We're picking up with somebody who's closely involved in the championship, but a Premier class driver who hasn't set a time yet, the only one. This is Mr. Steve Hicks.
Yes, indeed.
The pressure's on here because he didn't have a valid lap time the first time through.
Yeah, and I'm just tracking. Oh no, this is his third lap. I was about to say, if he had another lap in hand, I don't think he's going to have time to complete it because we've got a minute and a half of the session to go. Hicksy up the hill now. Seed number 4 from last season's Club 100 iRacing Championship, going through what I've got to say, I think these are some of the best corners on any race circuit in the country towards the end of the lap. Particularly through here. Huge compression as you go through the final corner. If you're in my little MX-5, you just see sky at this point, and across the line. Here comes Steve Hicks. Where does he go on the grid? I didn't complete a valid lap, so Hicks will start from the back of the grid. Josh Ladd has provisional pole position, and it's an all-Premier first 2 rows of Ladd, Deal, Sanders and Graham. 2 clubmans next up, Murray Adams and George Palozzi. James de Havilland, another driver returning to action in our championships tonight, has gone 7th on the grid. And from the data that we've been looking at, I think an early season favourite for intermediate honours because he's very strong, particularly in the FF 1600. Newcomer to the series. In fact, I think Henry Mackenzie Friedman is our top newcomer. Yes, he is. 8th on the grid. Brilliant qualifying from John Adey as well. A rookie up in the top 10. Well, rookies are flexible. They're under assessment, if you were. So we may well see if John Adey can put those performances and convert it into race results. He could be being moved up to intermediate. Here's your grid then for the first race of the year in the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships. Race 1 of round 1 for the BUKC iRacing Trophy 2024. Josh Ladd back in action and on pole position will be joined by round winner from the main championship last year, Ross Deal. He's second on the grid. That is your front row. Sam Sanders and Matthew Graham on row 2. Murray Adams and George Palozzi form up an all-clubman row 3. James de Havilland is the first of the intermediates on row 4 alongside Henry Friedman. John Adey, brilliant performance. Great performance from David Whitehouse as well. Second of the Inters inside the top 10 overall. That is row 5. Adrian Goodwin back for some more racing. He's on row 6 alongside Sandeep Burji, the second of the rookies there, 12th on the grid. James Dreber, another new driver to the championship, is joined by Matt Salmon on row 7. Seb Algieri and Olavo Castro form up row 8. James Fremont, a member of the Club 100 Sim Racing clubman effort for the Daytona 24 Hours a couple of weekends ago, will be on row 9 alongside a returning Lawrence Vines. Logan McAllister, reigning cadet champion in real life, stepping up to the juniors this year and also stepping into the sim racing world here. We'll start on the 9th row of the grid. Sorry, mate, I've pressed buttons incorrectly and messed up the grid. There it is. Simon Kochis, another driver returning, is on row number 10. Andrew Dawson and Matt Hale go from row 11. Eric Mignon, another new driver to the iRacing sphere, is on row 12 alongside fellow Gran Turismo graduate Sam Dimolo. James Fremont and Lawrence Vines, we've already read out. We'll just go through the last few rows of the grid. These are drivers who did not set a valid lap time. They include Steve Hicks, Matthew Shawnee and Antonio Gitsonio. 27 cars ready to go racing here at Oulton Park. It will be a rolling start. This is just to give a bit of opportunity for drivers to get some heat into their tyres. We know that the iRacing tyre model can be a little bit peaky at times. Whilst the drivers are rolling around to take the green flag. Hello to Jake Richardson, big up Murray Adams, Cam Biggs as well, who hope to see joining us for round 2 and beyond. Brief thoughts, Howard, before this first race of the year. A lot of excitement to feel in the air for this one. 27 cars ready for 25 minutes around Oulton Park.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, in all the excitement, I feel like we've barely discussed this track. This is not the easiest track to have a massive field of cars start on. You know, we don't go into a big braking zone here, so this could be all quite interesting as the cars are right on the limit as they head towards turn number 1 at Old Hill Corner.
Josh Ladd becomes the pace car and drops the hammer. Away we go. The 2024 BUKC iRacing Trophy is underway. Ladd will lead it into turn 1. Ross Deal and Sam Sanders fighting over P2 behind. Looks like they're all clean through the first couple of corners. No safety cars in play. So drivers have got to take it easy on these first couple of laps. Oh, a bit of a bold move down the inside there. I think George Palozzi may have been involved. This, I think, is the really brave bit. How much speed do you take through towards the hairpin on lap 1? Here we are on the international layout as well. This is where we go into the unknown. At the prologue last week, we were on the island course. It looks like everyone's doing well. 27 drivers still continuing round.
Yeah, really good start there. Brilliant start for our first race start of the championship. Drivers using the experience that they'll all have around this circuit to a certain degree. As you say, the prologue was here, Andrew, albeit on a different layout, and we've already spoken about how familiar this circuit is on the iRacing service. But drivers using their experience, there is a little bit of a hit though, as we're going through the second of the chicanes.
I think it might have been James de Havilland who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Henry Friedman having a moment there, and poor James de Havilland pitched, almost rolled as going through Knickerbrook. But look at this, 2 nearly 3 wide as they run towards Druids Corner. There's contact, drivers off, and this is the thing, this is like we see in real life BUKC. You've got to survive in the early stages of a 25-minute race. They call them a sprint, but they are anything but.
Yeah, absolutely. We might get a chance to go back and review some of this, but at the moment, there's so much frenetic action here as there's some drivers. I think that's George Palozzi pulling into the pits, which is going to be disappointing for him. He had such good pace early on in that qualifying session, but obviously carrying a little bit of damage there.
Back at the front. Go ahead.
Just one last thought for me, Andrew. As they headed through Druids there, they were doing really well. I think someone might have just been blinking slightly there in the mid-corner, and when you're that close together, that can be really difficult to deal with.
It wasn't James de Havilland who was pitched off the road. I think, unfortunately, it was John Adey, because John Adey has fallen down to 26th position now. We'll have a fast repair. That's a carryover from the main Club 100 iRacing Championship, that all drivers have 1 fast repair available to them. So if you do have damage early on, you can tow back to the pits and immediately be back out on circuit. No trouble at the moment, though, for Josh Ladd, front of the field, but now under a challenge from Ross Deal as they go downhill. This is one of the best opportunities to overtake around this circuit. Deal halted in there. Is he going to get the power on? Here comes Matthew Graham up the inside of Josh Ladd. Bit of a tight line there for Deal, and Ladd's going to sweep back round the outside. This is something that we thought would happen. It's not easy to break away in this car. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming, and through comes Murray Adams and Sam Sanders now. Sam Sanders round the outside to take P2. Brilliant racing here at Oulton Park.
This is why we have this car. This is what we were hoping for. Fantastic close quarter racing. We've had plenty of races in this championship where, being fair, we've seen a driver such as Josh Ladd pull away from the field, but he's got his work cut out if he wants to try and do that here, because these cars lend themselves to close quarter racing. Sam Sanders now down the inside of Josh Ladd into turn number 1, but he's going to go wide on the exit, and the drivers do have to be careful about that, Andrew, because there is a limit of the penalties, 17x, before there will be a
drive-through penalty. Yeah,
indeed, a drive-through penalty, as Ross Deal has a good exit there and is going to be possibly alongside Josh Ladd, but it's a difficult part of the circuit to convert that into a pass as they head through the left-hand kink before the Shell hairpin.
Yeah, very challenging corner is Cascades. Sam Sanders has the front of the order. This is already giving me BUKC vibes around, you know, somewhere.
Yeah.
I remember PFI last year, the race that myself and John Ratcliffe called, where you had a really strong group of drivers all in the same race at the front, and none of them could break away. It's one of the races of the year. Here's Sandeep Burgee just going past Matt Hale there in the silver and yellow car, up to 16th place at the moment. Let's have a little bit of a review through the classes at the moment. Remember, these are all identical pieces of machinery. The classes based on a new categorization system that takes into account both the driver's record in the public lobbies over a span of time, not just simply what their iRating is at this moment of history, but also their club record as well. So you see Sam Sanders leading in Premier, Murray Adams performing well again in Clubman, continuing the strong form that we saw from him last year in the main championship. David Whitehouse leading in the intermediate class. That's all the drivers with a green roll hoop. Here is Whitehouse just ahead of debutant James Juba, and then in the rookie category it's Olavo Castro leading at the moment from a returning Simon Kotchis.
Who's off? Losing it behind him.
I'll curse at the commentator once again. Second victim of the year, but at least Simon, I think he's got away with. Oh no, he is going to come into the pits here, so there must be some damage for the Hungarian registered driver. That means he's going to lose some positions back at the front. It's frenetic stuff, this. Into Cascades. Josh Ladd down the inside, round the outside holds. Sam Sanders on board now with Matthew Graham. That's Murray Adams on our inside, trying to look round the outside of the Scotsman there for 4th place. Adams leaves room, was racing in the prologue last week, of course. Ross Deal, I want a penny for Ross Deal's thoughts right now in the middle of this 5. Sat there in P3, do you attack, do you defend at this stage with still the majority of 20 minutes to go?
And the only answer I can think is yes, you attack, you defend, yes, yes you do.
Do everything.
All at once, please. That is always the challenge of being the meat in the sandwich. I think, honestly, in these situations, the best thing to do is focus on your line and look for the opportunity ahead. The racing driver instinct should ideally always be looking on up the road.
Drivers in trouble, by the way, in the pits at the moment. Adrian Goodwin, Eric Mignon, Sandeep Burgee and Matt Salmon have all had problems out there on circuit. We'll try and bring you some of the replays, but to be honest, there's so much going on out of circuit. I don't think we're going to have time to. On board with David Whitehouse now. This is for the lead in intermediate, and that's James Juba going through and into 7th place overall, but back comes Whitehouse. This is what we've expected from the FF1600. Not a lot of power, but a lot of slipstream effect. We see it in real life karting classes, things like Honda Cadet, for example. We always say this is the perfect recipe for close racing.
Yes, certainly, and it's proving its points in the early phases of this BUKC iRacing Trophy Championship. This is fantastic stuff. I honestly don't quite know where to look, but let's focus on the fact that Ross Deal has now got himself to the head of this leading pack of 5.
Has indeed, has found a way through past Josh Ladd and past Sam Sanders. 8 minutes gone, still 17 to go. This is what we mean by these 25-minute races as we see in real life in the BUKC. Sprint by name, sprint Giro by nature. You've got to keep yourself in play. Really, this will all be decided as to who takes the race win in the final couple of minutes, but there'll be a lot of fun along the way. Should mention as well, points system for this series. A little bit different to the main championship, where championship points are awarded at the end of a round. Every single race in this series is weighted equally. If you get a race win, doesn't matter if it's race 1 or race 3 of a round. It's 50 points for your championship tally, 47 for second, 45 for third, 44, 43, 42. You get the picture down through the field. On board with Andrew Dawson, a recovering Andrew Dawson, trying to find his way past Antonio Gitsonio, who joined the series, joined the club in the iRacing sphere in the autumn last year. Good move by Dawson down the inside, takes 17th place. Back at the front, 2 by 2, chasing Ross Steele down. Sam Sanders on the inside, holding for second place there. Here comes Murray Adams up alongside Josh Ladd for third. I'm going to run out of breath here, mate. It's like first race of the year, and they're giving us a contender for one of the ones to remember come the end of 2024.
Main thought in my head is we've got a championship on our hands here.
Yeah.
This is fantastic stuff. Ross Steele has been able to hold on to first place for that lap since we last checked in with him. The main battle at the moment between Sam Sanders and Josh Ladd. It is still a 5-car battle, just to be clear. There's a back marker that they've just gone by there, so it's still the top 5. If you're wondering, by the way, 6th place Henry Mackenzie-Friedman is some 4.5 seconds down the road here, and he's not able to eat into this. I think because this pack, Andrew, when they're not attacking each other, their pace, I mean, the way that, you know, this lap they've been relatively calm, and they're all just following single file, and that is going to be a difficult pack to catch up to, even if they do break ranks occasionally to have a little bit of a go at the move.
Yeah, I think for Henry's situation, I know it's only race 1 of 15 that will decide this. You've got to think long term, especially as a newcomer. 6th place isn't bad as a first score. It is going to be difficult because he's on his own, 2 seconds ahead of the first of the intermediates. Just got to hold it in there, and remember that if you hold 6th place, you'll start race 2 from the same position. Here's George Palozzi, one of the FFR crew. How's he getting on, Howard?
Well, I'm interested by his race because, of course, he was one of the drivers we saw taking to the pits at the end of lap 1. So he's now on a recovery drive, but we know we saw good pace from him in qualifying early on. He was the earliest pace setter in qualifying, so it's going to be interesting to see where he can recover to in, well, both this and over the course of the next few races as well. So that's going to be good, as there's a move for the lead I'm going to have to cut back to here. Heading towards Shells. Ross Steele on defence from Sam Sanders, who's trying to go around the outside. Josh Ladd goes on the low side of the corner. As they head towards Britain's, it's still Ross Steele in the lead. In fact, it's absolutely as they were. So obviously there was nothing to talk about there.
No. But they are breaking away from Adams and Graham behind. So yes. 5 has become 3 for this portion of the race. And do these 3 top drivers decide to work together? At the moment, that's not happening between Adams and Graham. They're going side by side through the Knickerbrook chicane and then turning up the hill, up through Clay Hill and towards Water Tower. The car behind is going to be a back marker. It might be Steve Hicks, actually, who is showing us off the lead lap. Not a good start to the season for Steve Hicks, who's not going to be able to do every single round in this championship. So drop scores aren't going to be plentiful. We could already be using one here down the inside. Matthew Graham on Murray Adams for 4th place. And that's a very simple manoeuvre, at least from the outside. It looked like a simple manoeuvre for Matthew Graham. But Murray Adams is not going to give this one up, the BPEC racer. This is an opportunity for Henry Friedman as he's dropped the gap a little bit to the group ahead, down to 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's true. It could be an opportunity for him as we're into the second half of this race now. As you say, sprint by name, sprint duro by nature. You know, anyone who's used to kart racing, sprint racing, will be familiar with 7-8 minute races. But as we were saying earlier, format that borrows heavily from the standard British Universities Karting Championship formula for a sprint race of 25 minutes.
And I've just thought of another thing that very much comes into play in real life BUKC 25-minute races. I know we've had a couple of drivers go off the lead lap already. It's not going to be for a few moments yet, but you are going to get that. As off there is John Adey and near contact. No, sorry, that's John Adey in the orange car going around the outside. It was Antonio Cicconio in trouble there going through Shell Oil's hairpin. Back on the move. But the leaders, I'm looking at the track map and the rate at which they're catching Matt Hale, who's the little green number 22 going round your track map. I think Matt's going to get caught here with about 5-6 minutes of this race to go. And we've seen many a BUKC sprint race be decided by which of the faster drivers can pick their way cleanly through the traffic. It could be a factor here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it could. And, we talk about it often when we're looking at the BUKC, as you say, mate. Interesting. Here we've got David Whitehouse currently running 4th in that intermediate class. Was the class leader briefly earlier on. But the person coming into play in his rearview mirrors now is the leader, class leader, in the rookies, in the form of Olavo Castro, who's having a brilliant run here, knocking on the door here of the top 10 in 11th place.
He's been putting in a lot of practice, has Olavo. Loved the drift through Lodge Corner. He really got it sideways.
Yes.
Kept pointing in the right direction. Hello to Tim Penny, I think it's Tim, on the Down to Race YouTube channel. It was, I can't actually remember what the fix was now. I think it was an Elgato thing. It was get a new Elgato fix. But I hope you're enjoying the stream. Do share it amongst your family and friends. And if you're watching and thinking, oh no, I've missed the start of this, you've just joined us, entries will reopen on SimGrid, the new service that's doing all the admin things for the championship now. Goodbye, Google Sheets. You are no longer required, thank goodness. Entries will reopen for round 2 and beyond tonight, once round 1 has been completed. Here's James Fremont.
Who I think might be nursing damage.
Ah, okay.
Because I think we might have had, that's the first time that on my little timing tower something's come up with the word crash as opposed to off track.
Yep.
I don't know if we're going to take a look at what happened here. Is it going to be far away from anyone else? It looks like it might be on force.
I know what's coming here.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Ah, no.
Oh,
It might be...
not.
I thought he was going to get eaten by the tyre wall, as many drivers have, but he managed to avoid that.
Yeah, he actually, if anything, he possibly overcorrected for not hitting the tyre wall. But yeah, you and I both thought the same thing. That would have been that was a failed round of what happened next.
There'd be magnets and large hadron colliders in those tyres. They've got their own gravity field that sometimes make strange things happen here on iRacing. But Fremont seems back up to speed. I was just about to mention, really good effort from James. Took part in his first iRacing special event 2 weekends ago. Straight into an LMP2 and had a good clean run of it as well. 3 LMP2s in the biggest iRacing and sim racing event of the year a couple of weekends ago. Premier team didn't have the luck, retired midway through the race. Clubman won, 7th place in class. I got run by GT3. Why is it always me? It was Clubman 2 team actually that had the best result within their split, 4th place in class. Meanwhile, back at the front of this one, Howard. Ross Steele doing a good job here, fighting off Josh Ladd and Sam Sanders.
Yeah, absolutely. The battle keeps on going. Fair play. Ross Steele has actually absorbed the pressure for quite a while, hasn't he? At the head of this. He's the one...
well, there's been some good work between them as a trio, because they've dropped Adams and Graham to the tune of 2.5 seconds now.
Yes, indeed. This is the battle for class lead in intermediates. This is over 7th overall. We're on board with James de Havilland chasing Jamie Zuber.
To mention as well, in terms of these classes, we have hit the minimum number of entries. I'll come back to that because James is down the inside, side by side through the fastest corner of the circuit through Cascades. Through past Lakeside. Very good stuff here between these 2 intermediates, both experienced drivers. James Zuber, this is his first go in one of our events, but because of his public performance already on iRacing, he's need not to do some time in the rookies, straight into intermediates.
Yeah, sorry, that was a move there from James de Havilland to seize that one into Britain's chicane. That was brilliant stuff. That was a thoroughly good battle there at the head of intermediate. But for now, James de Havilland takes the lead in that class. Meanwhile, back at the front, this is where we picked them up last lap as well. Josh Ladd having a very earnest look up the inside of Lodge, or down the inside of Lodge as it is on the exit, certainly, as we dip down and then back up again, up towards start-finish, still side by side. How is it towards Old Hill Corner? He'll have the inside line, will Josh Ladd, but that doesn't always help your exit speed. They're still side by side. Ross Steele keeps his foot in it. Opportunity for Sam Sanders now as they head towards Cascades.
And they're catching up to Matt Hale as well. As we see sometimes in real life BUKC, 5 minutes to go of a 25-minute sprint enduro, sprint enduro as we call them. You've not just got to think about your position against. Oh, as wide there is Josh Ladd. Can he keep it under control? Can he get it on the brakes? He can. Massive moment for the Williams Esports driver. He collects it up and keeps himself in the race. But this is where the money is won and lost. Well, at least championship points at this stage of the season. You've got to be quick, you've got to be clean, but you've also got to be able to deal with that traffic. Matt Hale will be doing everything he can to stay on the lead lap, but again, it's 3 versus 1 as they go down into the chicane. They're going to catch Matt Hale, and they're going to have to get by him cleanly.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, problem for Murray Adams. Problem for Murray Adams, taking the escape road down through Knickerbrook. I think he's been able to hold on to 5th place. Now, is that him just being very gentlemanly and making sure he doesn't gain an advantage from going off track? We might be rubbing off a slowdown actually at this stage. I hope he's not got damage. It looks like it's pointing in the right direction. But Henry Friedman is going to have an opportunity here of snatching 5th place.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, and to be fair to him, he's been playing himself into this one brilliantly, hadn't we? We've been saying that, you know, Henry would be forgiven for thinking, where is everybody for a lot of this race? But he was always looming as a threat, and the opportunity has presented itself now. And Murray Adams suddenly has a friend to play with there out on circuit.
Leaders are making their way past Matt Hale. Here is the fight between Olavo Castro in 10th place now, just getting past David Whitehouse there, one of the intermediate runners. So Olavo looking good here for a class win in the rookies. He's right on the cusp of actually being moved up to being an intermediate. And shown like in this first race to be worthy of that. He's running strongly in the top half of those new to the series. On board with David Whitehouse again. He's having a little bit of a look down the inside. Castro closes the door, and who was that off to driver's right? Thought it was Ross Steele for a moment, but he's still circulating on our tracker.
Was it Adrian Goodwin?
Might have been Adrian Goodwin. Yes, it was. It was a red car, 25th place Clubman car there. He's just lost it. He's just lost it, and then ended up on driver's right. Oh, just about get on the brakes. Manages to keep himself out of the path of Castro and Woodhouse there. That was a bit of a scary moment. We're into the last 2.5 minutes of this race, Howard. And what you know, it's still not decided at the front, is it?
It's not. That's, by the way, why you hit your brakes when you go into a spin, folks.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a nasty hit, potentially for other competitors around him, albeit he had to recover to the pits. But as you say, mate, it is not decided yet. Between our top 3.
Down the inside there from Josh Ladd. He's going to run wide, though. That's going to offer Sam Sanders a run, possibly as they go downhill towards Cascades. Maybe not, just holds there. I think there'll be this lap plus 1 more. Race will run to time, as per, again, a BUKC sprint race. First time, first place crosses the line after 25 minutes. That will be the checkered flag. No early waving of checkered flags here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
No early checkered flags or white flags. It's all good. We're on top of it here.
At least they've admitted they got it wrong. Anyway, they're all crossed up there as they head up the hill. I thought that was going to be the moment for Sam Sanders and Josh Ladd to pounce. I actually think the slight mistake from Ross Steele backed them both up there, side by side through the Knickerbrook chicane once again. This is fascinating stuff. 1 minute on the clock. This is Ross Deal's best opportunity to break away, because Sam Sanders and Josh Ladd are going to fight here over second place. Josh Ladd looking to the outside, will have the inside for the next corner, which is Druids. Through he goes. Josh Ladd back into second place for the next couple of corners. Crucial now for Ladd and Sanders. They've got to work together if they've got any hope of catching Ross Deal. Ross Deal, who won round 1 of the Club 100 iRacing Championship last year. Is he going to start 2024 here in the BUKC iRacing Trophy with 50 points? White flag is out for the leaders. Pace is still good as well, 144.3 for Ross Deal.
What's good about Ladd and Sanders here, Andrew, is they have at least realised that they've dropped too much time and they need to, if anything, work together here. They're coming up on traffic though, and it is, I think, Simon Kochis who they're coming up on.
Yep.
Who, I'm sorry to report, did have a crash last lap, which is why I think he now unfortunately finds himself this far down the order, so he'll be looking for a bit of a recovery in subsequent races. But is this going to be a factor in our leaders coming through? As we've been saying, Andrew, as we've referenced from the real world BUKC, you've got to get by the traffic cleanly and fairly and efficiently. And that is the challenge right here, right now, for Ross Deal on this last lap.
Oh, and it's slightly balked as they go up over the hill. These three drivers have all been in this scenario in real life. Ross Deal for Reading University, Josh Ladd for Cardiff, Sam Sanders for UWE. Round the outside, Ladd is looking, they're all sideways. They're all squirming through Knickerbrook chicane. Ladd has got his nose ahead, but he hasn't got a full overlap yet on Ross Deal. Now he's got a full overlap on Ross Deal. Brilliant reading of the situation from the Cardiff University driver, but it's not done yet. Sam Sanders is still on the outside there. He's going to look round the outside as they go through Druids. Wheel to wheel between drivers who, if they're in with the race all the way through, they're going to be 3 wide going down towards the last couple of corners. Who's going to take the first race win of the year in the BUKC iRacing Trophy? Josh Ladd has got his nose ahead. There's contact, slight contact between Ladd and Sanders. Deal still in there. There's still going to be 3 wide over the line. Checkered flag goes to Josh Ladd. What a start to this new series. Josh Ladd takes it by 0.06 from Sam Sanders, Ross Deal, the 3 of them across the line, covered by less than 1/10 of a second. Wow.
Oh my goodness me.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, we've been doing this for this is the 5th year of these competitions. I'm going to say, I think that's the best finish we've ever had to an individual race.
It's got to be up there, hasn't it? 3 wide across the line. 3 wide heading towards the last braking zone as well at large, as we've still got battles here coming across the line. Incidentally, this is Matthew Shawnee taking the flag just ahead of Andrew Dawson and Antonio Gitsonio. Some good battles between those drivers throughout the race. But my goodness, Andrew, what a finish. What a finish that was. That was absolutely brilliant stuff.
Let's go through
Can we take a...
Yes, let's take another look at that again. So it all stemmed from getting past the back mark. Simon Kochis did nothing wrong. Ross Deal on the grass there as they were heading towards Lodge Corner. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut away from that because we're going straight into the consolation race, race number 2 of the night. Everybody's still in play. Let's have a look at the grid ahead of this one. It'll be a carbon copy of the result from race 1. Did you enjoy that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, Ladd, Sanders and Deal are about to do battle again. I do think there was a late penalty there for a couple of drivers because Murray Adams P4, James de Havilland P5, James Juba P6. That must mean that Matthew Graham had a post-race penalty. And same for Henry Mackenzie Friedman. We'll try and catch the story in that in due course. Row 4, Logan McAllister. So in the top 3 in class in his first race in the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships for the reigning cadet champion. We'll start this one P7 alongside Lavo Castro, who was the first of the rookies home in race 1. Lawrence Vines, good result from race number 1. P9 on the grid for race 2. David Whitehouse inside the top 10 again. We'll hope to hold on to that position once more like he did in race 1. Matthew Graham will form up on row 6 alongside Seb Algieri. Moving down, Matthew Shawnee and Andrew Dawson are on row 7. Antonio Gitsonio and Henry Friedman on row 8. John Eddy and James Fremont, row 9. Sam Dimolo and Matt Hale, row 10. Simon Kochis and Matt Salmon, row 11. Sandy Burgee and Eric Mignon on row number 12. And then we will find, I think, George Palozzi and Adrian Goodwin on row 13. And Steve Hicks will form out the 27-car field, race 2 of the night here at Oulton Park. I think I've just about got my breath back, but I'm going to hand over to Howard Mitchell for the start of race number 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure we thought this through from the point of view of our voice boxes and our throats when we came up with this format. I was so entranced by reviewing that race finish, didn't even think about it, but here we go. It's going to be battle resumed again here. 5 lights on the start gantry, and away we go. Josh Ladd will lead them away for 25 minutes more of fun, and everyone, frankly, can resume their battles from race number 1 as they all work their way through Old Hill Corner, and immediately there's a battle for the lead. As further down, I'm just looking to see, it looks to me again like a really nice clean start as we head towards Cascade here for our BUKC iRacing Trophy Field. This is brilliant stuff, and everyone is through. We did have a few contretemps in the last start. People learning a little bit as we've got a driver off wide there, though a few drivers off wide there through Ireland, having to gather it all up by the time we get to Shell Corner, and that looks like a hit involving Matthew Graham, and it's going to cause a little bit of a pile-up. This is going to be a little bit costly here, Andrew, because as we've said, no safety cars, and it's Steve Hicks again who's got entangled in that. It is not Steve Hicks's night at all.
No, it's not.
As they get underway again, but for the most part, Andrew, given the size of the field, an impressively clean start, I'll say nonetheless.
Yes, it's say very tight in there. That many cars going through a thin part of the circuit. No reverse grids. No reverse grids in play. Some of the feedback from the back end of last year that probably the reverse. Oh, Murray Adams down the inside of James Juba there. Parted with James Haviland as well. Both of them in the stock livery for intermediates, and both called James. It's not confusing at all. But end of lap number 1 on board here with Henry Mackenzie Friedman. Bit wide there, might pick up a 1x for his troubles as he went through final corner there through Deer Leap. So Sanders leads end of lap 1. Deal second, Ladd third. Logan McAllister, how about this? Dominated in the cadet classes last year in real life Club 100. He's only recently joined the iRacing service, but has done a lot of FF1600 in that short span of time. Hence why he's straight up into the intermediate class, no time in the rookies, and is showing very, very strongly indeed. P4 at the moment. He's got a lot of experience actually for his age, Logan McAllister. He's done a bit of owner racing as well, raced in Super 1 before his time in Club 100.
I think James Zuber may have had a moment there through Ireland heading towards the Shell hairpin, because he's had to gather it back up and he's dropped a few places as they're all getting a little bit bulked up here at Britain's chicane indeed. This is in the lower regions of the top 10 early through to the early teens here that we're looking at.
Oh,
right
Andrew Dawson.
Andrew Dawson, stage right.
Well, the last time I saw a car over there is when I went to see the first stage of Wales Rally GB a few years ago. What are we having a look at here? This is Simon Kochis, Matt Hale and Adrian Goodwin. This is down into Knickerbrook as well as Dawson is at. Oh, I think what happened there, Kochis braked a little bit earlier than Adrian Goodwin was perhaps expecting.
I'm glad that was some drama. I don't want to sound unprofessional, I definitely meant to cue that replay there. But it was an unfortunate incident there that happened just after Andrew Dawson had exited stage right, as the drivers push hard here in their battles throughout the field.
Well, once again, a lot's happened in the first 3 laps of this.
It has. It has. We have had so Matthew Graham has had to go to the pits. Not too surprising there. We saw the incident at Shell Corner on lap 1. Adrian Goodwin, unfortunately, has had to go to the pits, and Alava Castro, who was so successful in the rookie class in the first race, unfortunately is already a lap down, as is Sandeep Burji. So a few drivers having to gather themselves up. But the beauty of the format, Andrew, is that it's a 25-minute race.
Yep.
There's opportunities that come back to you. And over the course of a race meeting as well, it's kind of like having, you know, it's kind of like having 75-minute race with breaks in it.
Yeah.
If you like. Or a bit of a reset. So, you know, there's opportunity for drivers to come back here as we're looking at this battle between James Zuber and Seb Algieri, which goes the way of Zuber into his lops as they start to head up the hill.
Credit to Seb Algieri. He was telling me before we got going tonight, he was one of the first drivers logged into the free practice session. Did that livery in the space of 15 minutes. It's like, and he's like, oh, it's looking a bit ropey. And it's like, oh, I don't think it's looking ropey at all, mate.
What is it with everyone doing their liveries in like 5-10 minutes for this round?
It's legal. It's past virtual scrutineering. He's good to go. And at the moment, up in the top 10, first of the rookies. Did 3 events last year, but hasn't had a huge amount of time on iRacing. He's another one of those drivers who, with some good results, may well move up immediately to the intermediates. Should mention on the points front as well, like Club 100 sprints, the points are awarded by the overall race position. Oh, as Seb's had a problem, that's Seb Algieri in trouble. But the points are awarded by the overall race position, not the position within class. It does mean if you're in the intermediates or rookies and you can get home with a really strong result, you can get a big march on the rest of your competitors for the iRacing dollars on offer at the end of the season, which we have now hit the minimum number of entries to have the pot for. Thank you very much, everybody, for your commitment to the series. On board now with Antonio Citsonio. Howard, good battle going on ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm basically using onboard because they're the best seats in the house for some of these battles. As for me, I don't know about you, mate, there was a little bit of blinking ahead there. So that's it happens, but it's very it can be very distracting when you're particularly when you're racing in close quarters like this. But we cut back to the battle here for the lead in the intermediate class. Providing some great battles, isn't it, the intermediate class so far this evening? Logan McAllister leading, James de Havilland pulls alongside. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is a premier trying to get involved as well. And that is de Havilland up to 4th and the class lead. Mackenzie Friedman up to 5th. Logan McAllister, though, still having a brilliant drive, Andrew, in 6th place.
Well, James de Havilland rolling back the years for some of our newer, younger BUKC viewers. May not know the name of James de Havilland, but he was a very accomplished driver in his days at Newcastle University. Was their talisman for many, many seasons. Very good record in owner racing as well.
Champion of champions.
Champion of champions.
BUKC
1 year
as well.
On board with Logan McAllister, trying to find a way. You could always see the cadet junior eagerness for Logan. We've been watching him for a good couple of years, whether it be in Club 100 cadets or in Super One. He loves to put a move on other drivers, but he's also got maturity beyond his years, if I may say so. Won't take any unnecessary risks, but give him half an opportunity and he'll be through.
Yes, indeed, heading towards Britons. This is a battle for 3rd in the rookie class. That was it's a recovering Seb Algieri, I suppose, because he did have an incident a couple of laps ago, and he's just come under pressure from Jitsonio, but I think he's been able to hold that pressure at bay. Another good little battle going on there. This is the battle between Matthew Shawnee and Matt Salmon. This is over 13th place as they head through Druids. As Andrew said, a brilliant corner there, just slinging it through the double apex and heading towards Lodge Corner can provide an opportunity for some overtakes, but could also provide an opportunity. It's deceptive, isn't it, Lodge Corner, because you can slide it through, and there is an incident there between Salmon and Shawnee, and I'm afraid that's Matt Salmon off to driver's left, and he's got a difficult place to recover as well, Andrew, because sometimes if you do have a spin there, and I say this as someone who's had plenty of them, because of the dip after the corner, you can look in your mirrors and just go, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone's coming because of the angle of the road.
Oh, Logan McAllister and Friedman nearly locking wheels there as they go through Ireland. I think another one of the problems there for Shawnee and Salmon, and I don't know if it's the same on your screen, that Salmon was blinking in and out as well. That would have been very difficult for Matthew Shawnee to know exactly where in the virtual space, quite literally, Matt Salmon was.
Yeah,
maybe vice versa as well.
Yeah, and now in the pit lane, as we saw him enter the pit lane there. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's the eagerness to Logan's driving here, isn't it? You can see it doesn't matter whether you're in a sim or watching him in the real world. He's got that look of intent to how he's driving it. We've got a great view here of de Havilland versus Mackenzie Friedman ahead.
It's interesting.
We've already seen Logan won't take a second time of asking to get involved in this fight as well.
It's interesting to see the drive, the steering inputs from a number of our drivers. I have heard it described to me before this round by there's a good number of Club 100 people out there who do a lot of racing with this car. Chris Simpson in particular, my predecessor on the social media front, he said this is the car on iRacing that feels the most like a Club 100 kart, and I'm starting to see that with the way that drivers are being really aggressive with the steering inputs, like you have to do in real life with JV's machinery. I think that's why a number of our drivers are tuning themselves in quite nicely. There is that almost familiarity to how this car races.
Yeah, as once again, this is Henry Mackenzie Friedman trying to go around the outside of James de Havilland. But that's not going to work that time around Shell Corner. Not that never works, of course. The camber of that corner means that you can have a good side-by-side battle there. As Ross Steele
off. And, well, it's got going again, and there's another car involved as well. I just saw behind in the Britain chicane. Let's have a look at what's happened here. That's the end of the incident, but there is another car just behind. I wonder if the leaders have... Oh, that's what's gone wrong there. Oh. And, well, I think that's going to be a fairly slam dunk one for... Can't quite make out the car involved there.
I think it might be Eric Mignon.
Oh, that's going to be an unsafe re-entry, I think, for Mignon. Through SDK's event logger. Pretty much all events will be reviewed by the stewards after the race.
Yeah, and I think he will have had the classic tag of the tyre barriers through there. I'm sure it was not through any malice, or obviously it was through no malice he spun, but you know, didn't mean to upset the race leaders in that way. What Ross Steele has got in front of him now is James Zuber versus Murray Adams. James having a brilliant race here, third in intermediate, 6th overall, and the knock-on effect of that is that we do get to watch Ross Steele try and work his way back through all of this, and that's a brilliant move to get things started by Murray Adams.
Yeah, Murray just pulled over to driver's left there. I wonder if he had a problem.
Well, I wonder if
he's back on pace now.
I wonder if he clocked what was going on, and he saw what happened to Ross as he went by, and maybe he was just wise to the idea of this driver's faster, and maybe he can disrupt my competitor if I comply nice and quickly with him.
Good evening to Tom Coe, photographer from the main championship. Some fantastic work last year. Here's Lawrence Vines on the left-hand side of this duo in the DDMM livery. He's going down the inside of Antonio Getsonio there. That's for 14th place. Nice move by Lawrence. Is eligible for the newcomer award, is Lawrence. Did only 2 events last year. That's where we put the line. If you've done 2, you're still getting up to speed. You're still a newcomer in that regard.
I think I need personally that line of about 200, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, 2. But yeah, good little battle between these two. That takes Lawrence Vines up to third in our club. And in fact,
Yes.
I've just realised how much the intermediates are.
The intermediates are showing the clubman's up at the moment, unless your name is Murray Adams.
Yeah, I've just realised that. It's as a reminder to everyone, it's red for our Prems, it's blue for our clubmans, and it's greens for the intermediates, black for rookies. At the moment, the likes of De Havilland and McAllister really doing the intermediates proud. Not that there's any reason that can't happen, of course. All equal machinery here. This is just based off of where we nominally would expect people to end up. But interesting aspect at the moment. Once again, this is Matthew Shawnee versus Lawrence Vines through Ireland, which a week ago at the prologue would have been a hairpin, but here it is just a fast left-hander ahead of Shell Corner, still side by side here as they head towards Britain's. But you usually have to go single file through there lest you want to tag the tyres, and indeed they do sort themselves out, and it remains with Matthew Shawnee for now in the battle over 13th place.
Very good stuff from Matthew Shawnee there to leave racing room for Lawrence Vines. That's what we like to see. Good evening to Kieran Fitzgerald in the chat. Good evening, lads. Need to get back on this season. You do. Get involved, mate. It was great to see you back in action on iRacing. What better way to do it? 'Cause this car very much is serving the purpose at the moment of giving drivers that opportunity to come in and be competitive. Lawrence Vines down the inside, but again, good driving from both of them. Shawnee leaving that space, not easy to do through Druid's Corner, just sitting to the inside a little bit, thinking, no, don't think about it, Lawrence. Down the inside into Lodge Corner, and Antonio Gitsonio is going to have a go now at retaking 14th position. Less than 10 minutes to go on the clock. Josh Ladd has been able to break away from Sam Sanders and Lawrence Vines, just ducks out of that one for now. I'll shape up to have another go. Are they catching another driver ahead, or is that a back mark? I think that might be Eric Mignon. Yes, it is. Here's Ross Deal back up to 6th place, and I'm sure he'll be frustrated with what happened a few laps ago. In the wrong place at the wrong time, but he's not losing too many points at the moment. Just doing the maths in my head. We're getting around 41 points for 6th place. So, yes, we'd much rather be getting 50 from this race, but it's not a complete and total disaster. Say, one-off entry fee for the season, but time will tell if all drivers are able to do all 5 rounds. As, off the road there. That might have been Eric Mignon just pulling over to one side and getting out of the way. Been really impressed tonight, Howard, with the performance of this driver here. 10th place, John Addy. Is a regular in the comments. Not tonight, of course, because he's doing a great job. Top driver in the rookie class at the moment.
I agree. I will correct you, though. That wasn't a back marker. That was James Fremont going straight on at his lops. So,
okay.
Not quite sure what brought that about. And he's definitely dropping off the back of that pack. Sorry, didn't want to take away. You're absolutely right. John Addy having a brilliant race, but I wonder if we might be seeing steering straight on this FF 1600. I can't get my words out. I'm not quite sure what's happened there to James, but he's definitely dropped pace there. So not quite sure what the drama is there. I do know what the drama is here, though. This is back to the Lawrence Vines, Antonio Gitsonio and Matthew Shawnee battle.
Steve Hicks on the inside. Steve Hicks trying to recover up through positions now.
It is indeed. They head towards Cascades.
We also need to talk. I've spotted it, Hicksy. I've seen what you've written on the side of the car. His livery is legal, but it's got a request on it that's simply not going to happen. It says Murray Adams to Premier. It's a bit of jovial commentary between the admin members, but no, Murray's doing a very good job in Clubman, but he needs to gain about 800 I rating and then hold it for a month if he's going to move up to the Premier class with the new categorization system, which is purely objective.
I think he could do with gaining 800 tenths right now. Well, 800 tenths, 800 hundredths or some such to take him past Ross Deal now. He's actually keeping him quite honest. I honestly thought that we'd see Ross Deal sort of pull away from this, but as it is. And, oh, what's happened at the front? Because Henry Friedman has got by on Sam Sanders.
Has indeed, and they're closing in on Josh Ladd as well. I think, and again, this is a bit of the traffic coming into play in the final 5 or 6 minutes. It's remarkable. We generally didn't plan this way. I didn't mean for it to really replicate a BUKC Sprint 25-minute in iRacing form, but it's pretty close at the minute.
It certainly is. Just trying to catch how long he's been in this position, because I can't actually find a timestamp of it happening, but he's played himself into this one really well. And, well, having had Ross Deal drop out of this top 3, we're back to having a top 3.
James de Havilland holding about 1.5, 2 seconds behind these drivers on your screens at the moment. Similar gap to Logan McAllister behind. Got to say, really, I don't think he's still got the fastest lap of the race. No, he has. James Dreamer going along very quickly, 1:44.53 a few laps ago, as Friedman and Sanders make their way past one of the back markers there. James third of the Inters at the moment, 7th place overall. That'll be useful points. 4 minutes remaining, race 2 of the night. There'll be a short break. So I think this is the move for Friedman on Sanders. Down the inside into Lodge. Very nicely done.
Well, it's too nicely done. That was extremely compliant there from Sam Sanders. But you've got to say, by the way, in all this, you know, he's done really well to pull away. Josh Ladd, we spoke about how difficult it is to pull away in these cars. We should acknowledge it when it happens as to how skillful that is. Yes, it looks like there's been a bit of fighting over second place, but even so, I've been watching the deltas, and Josh Ladd has been really pushing to open up that gap. So he has done extremely well to pull that gap out, albeit it's just 2 seconds, as we're inside the last 5 minutes. So, you know, it does go to show it's difficult to pull out the gap. As we're looking.
Oh, contact there between Palozzi and David Whitehouse. And David Whitehouse now, has he hit anything? There's a lot of grass out there to drivers right through. Oh, is there a bit of damage on the right-hand side pod? Moves him down to 11th place. There is damage to George Palozzi. He's pulled off and is out of this race. So that's a real shame for George. He's running along quite nicely in the top 10. He's around the outside. Oh, there might be a little bit of net code in there, you know. Tiny, tiny bit. The front left of Palozzi and the rear right of Whitehouse getting together. Good news, though, for John Eddy, because he's through now and into 9th place. And James Fremont, great results here for James Fremont if he can bring this home.
Yep.
Had difficulty earlier on and is now P10. Well, Josh Ladd must have heard me, because he's just put in a 1:44.073. He's gone, obviously listening to the commentary, and gone, hang on, I don't have the fastest lap. This won't do. Bang, 1:44.0. Is it scary to suggest that I think Josh Ladd has got even quicker? I was doing the maths and the analysis for driver categorisation. It's always obvious that it's going to be Premier for Josh Ladd. Notice that he is actually at an even higher I rating than he's ever been in his career, 9.3k.
Yes, it is scary to answer the question directly. It is slightly scary, but very impressive nonetheless. As our battle for second place continues. That's just gone past Simon Koches, who's recovering from a little bit of an incident.
Yeah, might be crabbing a little bit as well. Is going to be caught by James de Havilland in 4th place. He's got a comfortable lead over Logan McAllister. Here's Andrew Dawson. We saw a very spectacular spin for Dawson earlier on in this race, trying to go around the outside one of his teammates on the Daytona 24-hour iRacing special event a couple of weekends ago, Matt Hale. Matt just closes the door there. Two very experienced drivers. Dawson, a front runner in. Oh, what's happening here? That's off the. Oh, that's James Drever. Drever is off the road. Back on again in 8th place. Now, what was going on there with Murray Adams? Let's have a look at that again. This is into Druids. Oh, tiniest little touch. I think the nose cone of Adams just got into the rear axle of James's car there.
I just wonder if James, maybe he's had to go to the pits.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's so disappointing for James. He was having such a good run. But I don't know, maybe perhaps what it was Murray Adams was looking for the inside, wasn't he? And I wonder if just it was a slightly earlier braking point for James than Murray was prepared for. Definitely no malice in that. Bit of a racing incident, but unfortunately, it's not gone well for James there.
Well, at least if he's got his, well, he will still have his fast repair. He can get in and out. I think he's re-emerged in around 11th place ahead of Lawrence Vines. That would still be a decent haul of points. Back with the Hale and Dawson battle in 14th. This is the last lap, by the way. Josh Ladd on his way to a race win. Friedman and Sanders going over 2nd place. Those 2 extra points.
Indeed, up the hill towards Druids corner. Sorry, I didn't quite know where to look for the battles at the moment, but this is definitely the one to be looking at right now. Going side by side for 2nd place towards Druids. We've seen people keep their foot in it around the outside here, but that's going to be a difficult one for Sam Sanders to do. He's still there though, side by side, as just up the road ahead of them. Josh Ladd is going to come round to take the win, but who's going to take 2nd? Still side by side as they come into Lodge corner. It's going to be a drag to the line, is it, or a traction battle off the corner? Josh Ladd is going to take the win for race number 2. Who's going to take 2nd? It's going to be Henry Mackenzie Friedman by 5/100ths of a second ahead of Sam Sanders. James de Havilland finishes brilliantly in 4th place and takes the class victory in intermediates. Then it's Logan McAllister with a fantastic result in 5th. Ross Deal is next, then Murray Adams is the highest placed clubman's. John Adey, what a brilliant result for him in 8th to be the top rookie. That is a fantastic drive from John Adey. James Fremont rounds out the podium, if you like, for intermediate. The top 10 rounded out by David Whitehouse. That is a fantastic. That was a fantastic finish for 2nd place, and some drivers, Andrew, with brilliant drives there in race number 2.
Absolutely, and fully agree with Cam Biggs in the comments. 2 excellent races so far. We're going to take a short break. There's 5 minutes warm-up session ahead of the feature race, the 3rd race of the night. And this is the start of the new year. We'll leave you with a bit of an itinerary of what's in store for DDMM in 2024. Welcome back, everybody, to live coverage of round one for this new BUKC iRacing trophy. Myself, Andrew Mather, and Howard Mitchell on commentary duties. And if you were looking through our itinerary there, that's just the stuff that's confirmed so far. There is stuff, plenty of stuff in the pipeline that we will update you on in due course. So if there are any regular events that see Sahib's comments there, waiting confirmation. Hold this space on any of the other regular events that we do across the course of the year. Howard Mitchell is still with me. Mate, we were about 40 seconds away from formation of the grid for race number 3, and yes. I'm going to say it, this is going better than I thought it would. I knew it would be good. I didn't know it would be this good in terms of the racing action out there.
I'm amazed to see some of the drivers have chosen to go out for the warm-up. I frankly needed a cool down. It's been absolutely brilliant. I'm totally with you, mate. This has been a fantastic start to the championship. I am loving the combo. I mean, it's a tried and tested combination ever since it was added to the service. But the Ray FF 1600s around this Oulton Park circuit are producing the goods in terms of good racing. But that should not take away from the brilliant driving standards that we're seeing tonight. We've spoken about how many new competitors we've got, how many returning competitors we've got. It's January, right? It's when people are going to be a bit race rusty, if they're ever going to be. Albeit, I suppose a lot of people do go perhaps back to the sim racing in the off season, if you like, indeed the real stuff. But yeah, it's been brilliant so far. Loving it.
Let's have a look at the grid then for race number 3. Josh Ladd on pole position. Henry Friedman alongside on the front row. Sam Sanders and James de Havilland will go from row number 2. Logan McAllister and Ross Deal on row 3. John Adey and James Fremont on row 4. David Whitehouse has gone up a position. I think this is because Murray Adams had a post-race penalty. Will be there on the 5th row of the grid alongside James Dreber. Lawrence Vines and Steve Hicks on row 6. Good comeback, actually, I think that from Hicks, considering he was in trouble on lap 1 of race number 2. Matt Hale and Andrew Dawson on row number 7. Sam Dimolo and Antonio Gizzoni on row 8. Murray Adams is there, so he was classified in 17th for race 2. And we'll have Matthew Shawnee for company on row number 9. Olavo Castro and Seb Algieri complete the top 20 on row 10. Simon Kotchis and Adrian Goodwin complete row 11. Eric Mignon and Matt Salmon will start from row number 12. 3 more drivers should be in the field. We've got George Palazzi and Matthew Graham starting on row 13. Sandeep Verji completing the 27-car field. The third time tonight, 25 minutes are on the clock here at Oulton Park. You're watching live coverage on the DDMM YouTube channel of the first round for the BUKC iRacing Trophy, presented by Club 100 Sim Racing Championships. 50 points available for the winner of this race. Can anyone stop Josh Ladd having an early lead in the championship after round 1? Safety car will pull into pit lane. Josh Ladd will take that role of setting the pace, and he's gone already. Good start for Josh Ladd. Green light, and away we go for racing for the final time here tonight at Oulton Park. Fast start from those at the front of the order. Is everybody going to make it through, Howard? 27 cars heading into the first turn and down the inside there. That was Matthew Graham. Matthew Graham's made a storming start. He's got up to 17th place already.
That's absolutely brilliant stuff from Matthew Graham. As you say, he's got to be a man on a mission for this one as they all head through Cascades for the first time. I'm looking to see, we've got a few drivers who have dropped off the back. Well, there's Adrian Goodwin. We've got a couple of drivers I'm not sure have taken the start, actually, Andrews. There's an issue for James Fremont out there. He's gone wide there. Now, did he hit the wall there? We just picked that up as he was off to driver's right. Disappointing for him. He had a really good second race. But I wonder if he's nursing a problem now as John Adey has also fallen off there as well. So a couple of drivers who had a brilliant second race are struggling now, as Olavo Castro as well, who had a brilliant race 1, has had some kind of issue there at Britain's chicane. At the very least, he may have had a slowdown for cutting the corner. as there's the usual jostling for position on lap 1.
Cautious and Salmon going side by side through Knickerbrook chicane, and still side by side. Going to have to get used to this, that very much have an ebb and flow with the FF1600. Can hold it round the outside in this car. Bit of smoke up ahead. Oh, lock of the brakes there for Cochis, and was that Eric Mignon going off the road? One of our clubmen's having a moment there.
And a moment for Sam Dimolo as well, going off. Driver's left. Back to the front, Andrew. This is the best time for competitors to try and deny Josh Ladd of this win. And so far they are keeping him honest, although already there's 3.5 tenths in Ladd's favour as Sam Sanders is pushing hard there through Cascades, as behind them it's James de Havilland still doing the intermediate class proud ahead of Ross Deal.
Indeed, down into the Shell Oils hairpin. This is similar to what we saw in race 1. Oh, Steve Hicks is off the road, rejoins onto the circuit. Has not had a good night. He's in 18th place now. Don't think he made contact with the fence on driver's right there. It just has not fallen into place. A driver who has such a good record of, even on a tough qualifying night, of being able to pick his way through. It's not been the case here at Oulton Park. James de Havilland, oh, round goes de Havilland in contact with Ross Deal. Both of them go off driver's left. Just about to say that, oh, as upside down is Ross Deal in the wall. That's going to be the end of his race in terms of anything worth writing home about. But, well, I think that's the first big commentary curse hit of the year. It's just about to say James de Havilland having a great race up there in 3rd place. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, James de Havilland just lost the back end, and for the second time tonight, Ross Deal, will argue, is just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Very dramatic exit from the race there.
I'm not sure the physics were the kindest to him there. That was very dramatic there for Ross Deal, and that's going to be gutting for him. He's driven so well this evening across the races, but it just hasn't gone his way since, well, race 1 was good, but ever since then, he's just not had the rub of the green. There, he got punted out the green. Yeah. So, yeah, gutting for him.
And the trouble as well, if you've got damage at that stage of the circuit, you'd probably just try and limp it back to the pits. He's now going to have to wait until the toe is done because he was stuck in the wall. James de Havilland has also been in the pits for repairs. I think Alava Castro also has been in the pits for some service. It means that we've got a group of 3 at the front of the order, same as we saw in race number 2, Josh Ladd, Sam Sanders and Henry Friedman. It's Logan McAllister leading again in intermediates. Dreamer in 2nd in class, Whitehouse in 3rd. This is a very good night for David Whitehouse.
Yeah.
I'd say, compared to where David was 2 years ago, I'd describe him as a transformed driver. Had some struggles for a while in terms of keeping iRACING up, but he's worked hard at it. He's become a very accomplished competitor. Had some great pace in the Clubman 2 car at Daytona a couple of weekends ago. Really led that team to success, getting a top 5. You never know. I know it's still early in the season, but the performances that we've seen tonight, you know that David's going to turn out to as many races as he can. Could be a dark horse for intermediate honours. On board now with Sam Dimolo.
Sam recovering, as I believe is Eric Mignon ahead of him. Just a nice little close battle for 2 of the drivers who are maybe trying to pick up the pieces from a difficult start. As we've been saying, there is time to do that in this format. As down the inside is going to look Sam Dimolo into Old Hill Corner, and nicely done. Takes himself up to 18th place.
It does indeed. Back with Sam Sanders and Henry Friedman. What can they do to work together? Of course, with the nature of this car, with its design, you can't really bump trap this thing, can you?
No, not really. Not really. You'll end up having something not too dissimilar to what we saw between James de Havilland and Ross Deal, to be honest, if you try. So yeah, it's one of those things, but nonetheless, they can not interfere with each other, taking the optimum line, give themselves the best opportunity to keep Josh Ladd honest. To be honest, I'm happy to see it as close as it was after the disruption that was the de Havilland Deal incident. When you have an incident like that, it really can just end the battle for those around, because a gap opens up that can't be recovered. But as it is, I'd say we have still got a battle on at the front here that we can enjoy. A cut here to battle over 13th place. Seb Algieri ahead of Matt Salmon and John Adey recovering behind them. Watch corner. Is there going to be a look here from Matt Salmon? He's gone to the inside. And he's going to be... No, that's perfectly judged.
Spot
on getting by there. That was a beautiful move from Matt Salmon. Textbook for how you get through at Lodge Corner.
Indeed. Just picking up some positions. Hopefully we'll be able to turn that into points. Down the inside here is Adrian Goodwin.
Dimolo on Goodwin, I think that is.
Yep. And yes, we have noted Dimolo's running the wrong livery. That's going to be a paddling. Maybe just colourblind. I don't know.
We haven't had that excuse yet.
No.
Somebody. I ran the wrong roll.
Oh, off there. I think that's Matthew Shawnee.
It is.
Gets it gathered up. We'll have some dirty tyres.
I have to say, moments like that, and we saw Josh Ladd have a big moment in that part of the track back in race 1 as well. And to a certain extent, it's the driver's skill and testament to that. But it does also underline that, you know, this car is somewhat forgiving. You know, it slides around. It can take that. It can handle that. And as a driver, you can get used to the feel of that and recover it. And that's a big reason behind why we've got this car in this championship, mate. Because it is. Well, that's after we saw that textbook move from him a lap or so ago. That wasn't in the game plan for him, and it looks like that was just an unforced error there. Unfortunately, I was wondering, because he was battling so closely with others, but if he was helped into it. But as it was, unfortunately, he's just going to have to lick his wounds, pick himself up, and try and do it again with some of the passes that he'd done so well before.
Well, the note on the way that this car slides around, the tyres are of course a big part of that. Treaded tyres at all times. It's why this car will be one of the first to take iRacing's wet weather system when it comes in. Rumoured to be for season 2 of 2024, which we're not that far away. Won't be seen here in this series, if anyone's wondering. So this series does go on until mid-April. If iRacing rain comes in before then, it won't be used here. We might see it for the first time in the main Club 100 iRacing Championship later in 2024, earmarked to start around September time after the summer break. For those of you wondering when we're going to see the GT3s and other bits of machinery in action, that's the plan. It'll be after the summer, after everyone's been on the hollybobs and had weddings and things of that description that keep themselves busy in the summer.
Everyone's had weddings.
Yes. Affects everyone in some shape or form.
I know what you mean. I didn't read that one in the rules.
Anyway, we're on lap number 6. We've had about 10.5 minutes of this final 25-minute race of the night. Ladd, Sanders and Friedman at the front of the order, striking their claims early to being at the forefront of the points table. Now, what I will let you into a secret, ladies and gentlemen, we did have prologue races last week, where if you took Josh Ladd's name out and put Ross Deal in, 2 races that we had round the island layout here, not the full international, were very much those 3 at the front. Sanders and Friedman in particular, if they do stick with it throughout the whole season. Question marks on whether Josh Ladd will be able to race in every single event this year. They're going to be right up there in the standings, and Friedman at the moment will be sitting pretty of those eligible for the newcomer award. I'm not quite sure what we do if a newcomer wins overall. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's what championship bulletins are for.
It is.
Meanwhile, Antonio Gitsonia there. Quick sight of him just trying to get inside the top 10. Good run that from Matt Hale up into the top 10.
Yes. Yep. Definitely. Good job from Hale. Running fourth in the intermediate Y Clubman so slow class this evening. Not that I'm calling any of our Clubman slow. I'm just saying, technically,
Out of practice.
Yes, something like that. I think there's been an issue for Dawson. That is a Clubman going too slow, and that is because of an incident through
Damage front left, possibly.
Yeah, that's as he was going through Knickerbrook. So, but he was in a battle. I'm just wondering what led to that. Was that? Oh no, it was an unforced error, was it?
No, there's damage on the front left, I think, already.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's clipped the tyres, or he's definitely hit the tyres there. But that looked like a car that did not want to turn right to me, which would indicate, yeah, looks like the front left is running low. He cannot get it round the corner. I think he's clipped the tyres going through Knickerbrook chicane. Once again, the large hadron colliders in those tall black circular things on the inside of the corners have claimed another victim. There's another car in the pits as well. And is that Matt Hale in as well? Yeah, Matt Hale's in the pits as well. So as soon as we say he's having a good run there in the top 10, he's been in for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out what... I mean, that's why I was looking at what had happened to Dawson, because I wondered if maybe Matt Hale had got entangled or something. Or was that a drive-through penalty?
Could have been a drive-through penalty. Something has happened to Antonio Gitsonia as well, because he's cut to pit lane. So if you're wondering why the 311 is currently being scored as the leader, that's going to be a nuance with the towing system. That Gitsonia has effectively completed his 8th lap, having just started it. That'll cycle itself through in a moment. There we go.
It's not, boys and girls, it's being towed. It's not, that's not how you get into the lead of the race. And indeed, the lead battle comes through. And we haven't really spoken, mate, about how it has closed up.
It has.
I remember saying that Josh Ladd had 3.5 tenths. Now he can't get 3.5 hundredths. As someone emerges from the pit lane there, just in front of them, James Zuber has had to go to the pit lane as well.
I think that's a drive-through as well.
The
fact he's come in and gone straight out, I think that's a drive-through.
Agreed. So penalties coming into play here for some of the drivers. And yeah, that's going to have a bearing on the results. Zuber is running high in the order, still running high to be fair. He's in 9th place. Josh Ladd, Sam Sanders and Henry Friedman, as we've had for a while now in your top 3. Matthew Graham, if you're wondering, is some 7.3 seconds back. In fact, it's worth us taking a look. Here is the battle over 4th place, because it's Matthew Graham in the 77 and then continuing to have a fantastic evening and leading the intermediate class in 5th place overall is Logan McAllister, who's sticking with Matthew Graham here. David Whitehouse is a further 5 seconds behind us as we're looking at it right now. And then he in turn has a few seconds in hand over Lawrence Vines, who's having a brilliant drive and leading the Clubman class.
Indeed. This has been, I'd say, Vines' strongest showing in a Club 100 Sim Racing Championships hosted event so far. Ran a couple of times last year in the main championship. It's one of the earliest sign-ups to the BUKC iRACING trophy. Big laps being thrown in by Josh Ladd into the 143s. Here's James de Havilland trying to recover back through. And it's drives like this, Howard, that if he's going to have a tilt at going for the intermediates honours, maybe even higher, It's recovery drives back through the field, picking up the points, diminishing the need for drop scores that often serve drivers well. Back at the front of the order, Ladd, Sanders, Friedman, all of them either in the high 143s or the very low 144s. On board with Friedman now. Feels like this race is, again, something that we see in the BUKC 25-minute races. In that simmer point, the drivers know they're just going to keep putting these fast laps in before they then decide everything in the final 5 minutes. How's the traffic looking like on our little map on the top right? Well, it's 22nd place Ross Deal is the next car ahead, and well, Ross isn't going to be slow, is he?
No.
So they might, I think they're going to get round and not catch any traffic in this particular race, or any more traffic. They've already gone past Andrew Dawson, Antonio Gitsonio and Seb Algieri.
I mean, you say it, mate, with the one variable, we've already seen it a few times actually, are drive-through penalties.
Yes.
Which we've seen several drivers emerge from the pit lane right in front of them. So it's not beyond possibility that they'll get some traffic, but it is looking good at the moment, as you say, based on the driver tracker that we've got.
And what I will say as well, and this is with a very large pinch of salt, ladies and gentlemen, because this has caught us out before with some of our sources. I'm looking at the off tracks at the moment for Ladd, Sanders, Friedman, Graham. They read like this from top to bottom: 12, 14, 9, 12. And they've got, you know, at that rate, especially if your name is Sam Sanders, that's going to be close. That's going to be very close as to whether you're going to be able to get to the end of this race before a black flag is automatically given to you. Logan McAllister's very close as well on 15, if the information that we're receiving is correct. Here's Murray Adams on board. Oh, big twitch there. That was Sam Dimolo.
It was.
I think someone got a shepherd's crook into his roll hoop there with the manner in which his car snapped off the road. It's back on again now. It falls down to 15th place.
Yeah, that was an incredible twitch there from the car. I mean, you are pushing the limits there through Cascades, make no mistake about it. But yeah, that threw him off into the next county almost there. But he is back underway. He didn't hit anything. Plenty of runoff in that part of the circuit. So yeah, he's able to continue circulating. But yeah, that was a heart in the mouth moment and a half, that one.
6 minutes to go. I just wonder, I'd say, see, these are very provisional numbers, but if they're correct, Henry Friedman has got 4 off tracks in his back pocket to the 2 drivers ahead. Is there an argument? And they've just picked up, just ticked over on our counter here. Ladd to 14, Sanders to 15. I think Friedman's almost trying to deliberately push these 2. I mean, it's easier said than done. 2 very experienced drivers in real life and on iRacing are Ladd and Sanders. But if you're Friedman, I think you try and pressure these 2 drivers ahead into making those little off tracks and picking up a drive-through penalty late on in this race, because you've got the bullets in the gun at the moment to see this one home black flag without a black flag.
Yeah, well, there's off tracks. Let's not forget as well, there is contact.
Yeah.
As well, which will get you a hefty 4x. Neither. What did you say they were on? Sorry, is it 12, 14, 12?
15, 15, 11 now.
Oh, okay. Well, they can't. Okay, so the top 2 can't afford any contact. That's for certain. So any little pod to pod, any little bit of a love tap on the rear of the car, they certainly can't afford to do that. Not that they would seek it, particularly as Andrew was saying, in these types of cars, because they don't take well to contact to these FF1600s. But yeah, they are right on the limit here. They've got to play this one by the book in the closing 5 minutes of this race, which you're now inside of.
I think Logan McAllister's very close on off tracks as well. This is a bit of a different mix for things in this race. Josh Ladd and Sam Sanders now really fighting hard. Ladd having to go defensive through Lodge Corner. Sanders is going to have a run here as they come over the line. 4 minutes remaining. Sam Sanders down the inside to take the lead of the race. Ladd's going to try and hold it round the outside. Gets good speed but runs very, very wide. Friedman still there in third place, unable to find a way through.
And that'll have been an off track for Ladd, won't it? So surely he's even closer to the limit now. Indeed, is he on his last warning? I have to say, I could have... Apologies to everyone that I keep going to the same camera on board here with Henry, but this is just a brilliant, brilliant view of the battle at the front. Now,
we're saying this, it may well be that our source is overcounting the off-tracks a little bit, because Logan McAllister is now showing as 19 and hasn't been issued with a black flag by the server yet. So there may be a bit of discrepancy between our information and what is actually true, but we'll leave that to one side. James de Havilland was falling down a number of positions there in the last lap. In fact, it's gone to the pit lane, so it's not been the kind of race that James de Havilland would have wanted. Less than 3 minutes on the clock now. Josh Ladd in the lead of this race, but under real pressure now from Sam Sanders. Sanders looking around the outside towards Druids. That's very close indeed. Nearly interlocking wheels. They get round the corner. Such is the skill of these two competitors that they've not come to blows there at one of the fastest points of the circuit. Down the inside is Josh Ladd in car number 15. Sam Sanders, the number 3 seed from last year. Henry Friedman still has the best seat in the house. Good run for Sanders off of the final corner. He's going to be outside now towards the first bend. Nearly clipped it into the grass. Is this going to be Friedman's opportunity? Contact between Sanders and Ladd. They both go off. They both lose position. And Henry Friedman, on his debut in the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships, takes the lead in race 3 for the BUKC iRACING trophy.
Well, I mean, hats off to Freeman. You've no error on his part. He read that brilliantly, just hanging back and waiting for the opportunity. I did wonder, Andrew, you know, we've seen so much brilliant wheel-to-wheel racing between Sanders and Ladd throughout this evening. I was just thinking, you know, how long could it go on before there's some form of incident or mistake? And that was it, and it's Henry who's benefited from that, and I don't begrudge him that at all, because he's played himself into this one absolutely superbly. But yeah, that was drama aplenty there for our lead battle.
I'd love to have a look at a replay if we can of that one with just over a minute to go. Here it was down the inside. Oof, there's multiple ways of looking at that one. I mean, I'll say from this vantage point, with just the one replay to look at the moment, that was two fast drivers going at it for a race victory. Here it is again. Oh, now Josh Ladd was oversteering a bit. If you're Sam Sanders, I think you argue that Josh Ladd wasn't in full control of his car there.
I think
very interesting.
Yeah, I need to see it again from. This has gone back to the same angle we had before. That's an odd one for me, Andrew.
30 seconds of this one remaining. Henry Friedman leads. He's just gone on to start lap number 15. It will be the final lap. He's got 0.9 of a second over Sam Sanders. I do think our off-track source has been overcounting a little bit, because none of these drivers have come into the pits for a penalty. It's absolutely fine. What's being recorded by the iRacing server takes precedent.
It's funny what you say. You say that, mate. iRacing's always overcounted mine, I've found.
But how about this for Henry Mackenzie Friedman? Had a bit of a shaky start to the night. I'm really looking forward to seeing Henry. He comes into this with a 5.8k I rating. That's why, even though this is his first event, he's gone straight into the Premiers with the new categorisation system. And on this performance, I think it's very worthy of him of having a good go at this championship. He's going to be competitive in this Premier class in the early part of 2024. Just taking things nice and steady. Knows that Sam Sanders isn't within striking distance. And I think has played this tactically very, very well indeed. He waited, he knew there was going to be a scrap between Sam Sanders and Josh Ladd towards the end of this race. Picked his moment perfectly. He's just got to get through Lodge Corner get on the power, see the checkered flag here at Oulton Park, and is going to take the third race of the night, 50 championship points, and he takes his first win in the BUKC iRacing Trophy. Sam Sanders is home in second place. Josh Ladd will be third. Matthew Graham, a brilliant drive from Matthew Graham in fourth place. Logan McAllister, the reigning Club 100 Cadets champion in real life, a brilliant first night in the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships. Fifth overall, first of the intermediate, sixth overall, second in class for David Whitehouse on what's got to be one of his strongest nights in the 4 and a bit year history of these competitions. Seventh overall and first in class for Lawrence Fines, 8th overall and third in class for James Dreamer. Murray Adams in the top 10 again. John Addy, didn't see too much of John in the second half of that race, but he's recovered again. Another top result for him in the rookies. P10 overall. Adrian Goodwin 11th, Matt Salmon 12th, Sam Dimolo, James Freeman all coming over the line. Torrid night for Steve Hicks, finishes in 15th place ahead of Matt Hale. Eric Mignon will be 17th, Matthew Shawnee 18th, Ross Deal will be classified in 19th place. Big incident early on in this one, was able to tow back, get a fast repair, and at least get some points for a top 20 there. And Lavo Castro will be the last driver over the line on the lead lap. Off the lead lap were Antonio Gitsonio, Seb Algieri, Andrew Dawson, James de Havilland, Simon Kochis. 2 non-starters in that race being George Palozzi and Sandeep Burji. Well, that completes the first night of the BUKC iRacing Trophy. There is your provisional result. There will be a protest period. Hopefully nobody will require it. I think there will be a couple of incidents looked at, of course. But that is your provisional result for race 3 and a first win in his time in the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships. Howard, for Henry Friedman, very well put together race.
Really, really well put together round, to be honest. You know, was it race 1 where he was sort of a few seconds off the back of what was then the top 5, and then just worked himself onto the back of that group gradually, and then race 2 was more of a factor, and then race 3 was there exactly when it counted. So in a way, going back to my sort of reference, that it's almost like a 75-minute race with breaks in it. You know, he's played himself up through the ranks in those 3 races brilliantly to finish this round on a high. I just want to be clear, folks, we're not really stingy with points. There will be points.
Everybody's 0 points.
They haven't been awarded yet. Yeah, brilliant win for Friedman. Yeah, okay, it came courtesy of the incident between Sanders and Ladd, but you have to be there to benefit from it, and he was applying the pressure perfectly to those top 2. And it paid dividends for him on this occasion. So brilliant first win for him in Club 100 iRacing ranks and in our BUKC iRacing Trophy, which I think, mate, has had a fantastic debut this evening. I know I'm biased, but you know, and you and I are often left, you know, thoroughly entertained by any of the rounds in Club 100. But for me, this has been a very, very successful debut for the series.
Yeah, I'd fully agree. And if you are watching at home and you want to get involved, it's all on SimGrid, the simgrid.com, the Club 100 Sim Racing host page on there. Give that a follow. That'll make the trophy event page appear. In fact, you know what? Shall we try and do this live on the air? Shall I try and reopen things live on the air? This could be dangerous, folks. I've got the back end of the championship now. See, this is what we couldn't do before. Let's go into setup. Let's go down here. Let's tick those 2 things there. Entries for round 2 are open now. There you go. They are reopened for drivers to join the grid. There's a cap of 40, and I think we've still got about 8 places left. So if you do want to get on the grid for that, you can do so now. And we'd love to see you on the grid for not Tsukuba, That would be mad to put 27 Formula Fords around Tsukuba. Okayama, right country, completely wrong circuit. The newly updated Okayama as well. It'll be the first time we've raced since they've rescanned it. It was looking very pretty when I was doing some of the promo work for this earlier in the month. And to remind as well, 15 races across the course of the season, 3 per race night, and it's the best 11 scores. So if you haven't raced tonight, you can still join up for round 2, do round 2, 3, 4 and 5, and you've still got 1 drop score. You can still have 1 bad race and you'll have a full complement score for the championship. The advantage for the drivers who have raced tonight and race through the rest of the season, though, they will do so. They do each round get a 20 bonus point allocation at the end of the season. But what I will say to that is, if you overcome a driver by average of 2 positions per race, you can nullify that 20 point bonus in the final championship scores. I'm getting too technical. It's been a wonderful night of racing. I hope you have enjoyed it. If it's your first time round here, do subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here on the DDMM YouTube channel as soon as possible. But thank you very much. Well, any last words, Howard, before we go?
I'm just really, really good debut for the series. Thoroughly looking forward to the rest of the season, and I've now made a note to petition you for an epilogue at Tsukuba at the end of the season. Non-championship
event.
That is not an official announcement. I should make that very clear. But no, it's been really good, mate. It's shown exactly why we wanted to do this championship to open up to new and returning drivers, and it's given us a really, really entertaining evening's racing. So long may it continue.
Thank you to Logan for just subscribing there. Landon Norris is spraying the champagne as he does whenever anyone subscribes. Google's settings agree to put the name on screen. But that's all we've got time for. 21st of February at Okayama will be round 2. All the details are over on the SimGrid Club 100 house page. The next DDMM action, it's a biggie. For some of you, it's probably the first time you've heard about this. The reason why we've raced tonight is I'm off to Valencia. The IAMI Winter Cup, part of the IAMI Euro Series. Myself and Anthony Jordan will be on commentary for that. You'll be able to watch action from one of the best circuits in Spain on Saturday and Sunday. Do make sure you followed at Double Dash MM for all the news on that. And BUKC in real life next week. We're at PF International for the mains on the Tuesday, Wednesday, one of the days. So my brain's gone fuzzy now. And there'll be a presence of us there on the Inters Day as well for the first time in a few years, doing some social media stuff. I'm not quite sure what, but it'll be social media stuff. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your evening and take care. Bye-bye.